The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Union Broadcasting Inc., ESPN 1510, or its employees. The host is solely responsible for the on-air content.
This is KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit digital resource produced by Charitable Communications. We'll tell the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them. KC Cares is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. I'm Ruth Bombigas. Bobby's off today, but we have a power-packed show. We are diving into Black Philanthropy Month. The month of August is dedicated to Black philanthropy, calling attention to this very, very important part of the nonprofit and giving sector. And I have two incredible women who are joining us for our show today. I have Pat MacDonald, who is the Executive Director and Senior Philanthropic Advisor at the Greater Kansas City Black Community Foundation. Pat, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And joining us as well, we have Marie MacArthur, who is co-founder of the Sisters Circle Fund.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be here. I would call me one of 100 women who are co-founders. I'm one of the original founding members. We do, however, have 4 women who came together after a brief email. A post. It was a social media post, and I'm really going to let Pat tell that portion of the story because I love to hear her tell it, and then I'm happy to pick up and talk about the role that I've played.
That sounds great. Pat, we thought a good place to start would be talking about what is Black Philanthropy Month? Why was it started or created, actually?
Right. I'm happy to share that. The concept of Black Philanthropy Month was birthed in 2011 by Dr. Jackie Bouvier Copeland and the Pan-African Women's Philanthropy Network. It's intended to be an annual global celebration of African descent giving in all of its forms.
Why do you think it was important to dedicate a month to focus on this? And why is it August? Why not August, I guess? There you go. I just wondered if there was a historic reason that August was chosen. I know sometimes when we...
It's recognized by the United Nations as part of its declaration of 2011 as the International Year of People of African Descent. So because of that declaration, it seemed like a wonderful time, I imagine, to its founders, Dr. Bouvier Copeland, to place Black Philanthropy Month in August in alignment with that declaration.
Makes as much sense as anything. I figured there had to be some sort of reason to call attention to that. So the focus this month then in August is on the importance of giving within that community. How does that play out here in Kansas City?
Well, it plays out so beautifully and in so many ways here in Kansas City and around the country. But so the primary aims of Black Philanthropy Month are informing, involving, inspiring, and investing in Black philanthropic leadership to strengthen the African American descent giving in all of its forms. So that is the purpose: informing, inspiring, investing, and educating.
So are there special activities or programs that go on during this month to do those things?
Exactly. In 2013, it became a widespread concerted effort to invite public participation in community events, online campaigns, and it just grows and grows and grows every year. There's a new organizing concept that frames Black Philanthropy Month campaigns each year. And this year, it's Let's Make History.
What a marvelous theme. That is so cool. Now, even though we have a month that's focused on this, for those working in nonprofit and particularly in fundraising, it's 365 days a year, 24/7.
Exactly. And what not enough of us realize, and this is documented in a report by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation and the Rockefeller Philanthropic Advisors, annually, Black donors give away 25% more of their incomes than white donors, and nearly 2/3 of Black households make charitable donations. This is a total of about $11 billion a year.
Those are amazing statistics. 25% of African American.
Blacks don't give away 25% more of their incomes than white donors. And nearly 2/3 of black households make charitable donations.
Those are amazing statistics that I was not aware of.
No, many aren't. It's just not something that is talked about. Kansas City is no different. Kansas City as a whole is an incredibly generous city.
Right.
And Kansas City's black and African American populations are no different.
They still stand up, give, participate. Let's talk about the Black Community Fund, which you are the executive director of, housed at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation.
Right.
Give us a little background on the fund and what it does and what it's about.
Sure. The Black Community Fund was founded in 1983 by the Hall Family Foundation, a single gift by the Hall Family Foundation. Its mission is to provide support and leadership to enhance socioeconomic aspects of Black and African American communities in the Greater Kansas City area.
And we say Black and African American. Are those disparate? Is it the same thing? What are we talking about? I don't want to be inappropriate.
Not every Black person in America is African American.
So who would that?
If you are,
who do you wrap in under the umbrella then?
Well, and you might want to jump in here too, Shirley. Each will self-identify as they see appropriate for them. But someone born in Kenya, you wouldn't
call
them African American.
You'd call them African.
What
do
you call blacks in Canada? They're not African American. So blacks and African Americans is a perfectly fine way to describe the many communities in Kansas City. In fact, we are not one African American community. We are a number of communities in Kansas City. We are not monolithic.
Do you think that impacts giving in any way or perceptions of giving from the greater philanthropic community of Kansas City?
I don't think that fact that
there's diversity,
that there is diversity within the Black community is the reason or has an impact on
giving. I guess where I was going.
So that's a really interesting question, Ruth. But actually, giving and sharing within communities is a value that traces all the way back to our ancestral heritage in Africa. From the days of enslavement, once we were brought from Africa to the North America and South America, we only had ourselves on whom we could rely, and a way of coming together and giving to one another became a way of life. So I think that I might embrace the people of color, whether black, brown, tan, or all shades in between. I think we might embrace, and none of us can speak for all of us, and I'm not intending to do that at this moment, but the term Black or people of color might be a larger umbrella, and then Afro-American or Cuban American or Hispanic or Latino American might be more appropriate for those who are seeking a sense of appropriate categorization.
Well, I didn't want to get too hung up on...
Well said. Thank you.
She's very articulate. I didn't want to get hung up on that definition, but I think there is some educating that needs to go on within the nonprofit world to be sensitive and respectful.
Oh, I am
along those
fully
lines.
Embrace your seeking a appropriate designation or response to that question, and it's helpful to open that type of dialogue. So I thank you for doing that, and I hope those who listen to the podcast will receive our individual responses as being an attempt to be very receptive and open and transparent. Thank you.
The Black Community Fund since 1983 A Hall family gift.
To a fund at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation.
Which I think in and of itself is a very interesting move.
Right. And the Hall family appointed a board, an initial board, to work with the Community Foundation on grants out of that fund. The fund was intended to support the Black and African American communities in Kansas City. Since inception, the fund has awarded over $4.3 million to over 200 local nonprofits. In 2010, the board wanted to cause systemic change in a way that only education could make happen. And that was the year they launched their scholarship fund, the Black Community Scholarship Fund. So that was in 2010. So this is the 10th year of this board's scholarshiping, and they've given $500,000 to area students. Those scholarships are $5,000 apiece.
And are those to be used for college?
College-going scholarships. The board also has other education initiatives in a variety of forms, but yes, those scholarships are college-going.
That is incredible. That's no small potatoes, $5,000.
No, that's amazing.
They also work with local schools that are not diverse to help them figure out how they will build a diverse student body or a diverse faculty. So they work on a lot of social levels with funding and outside of funding.
Now, how long have you been over the Black Community Fund?
So I've been at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation for 13 years as a philanthropic advisor, and I have worked with the Black Community Fund since 2007. What's the math on that?
12 years, I think.
There you go.
There you go. So you've had a good tenure to see how it's grown and how it's changed. Can you give us a little insight into that?
Yes. As a matter of fact, so for the Black Community Fund's first 30 years, they were a pretty quiet grant-making board. They met, they looked at applications, they gave grants out, and they were quiet and relatively unknown. Yet, over this 30 years, there are few people in Kansas City of any color who don't know someone whose life has been touched by the Black Community Fund, whether they knew it or not. Mm-hmm. So they were a very quiet grant-making board. In 2010, because of the launch of the scholarship fund, that needed to change, and they needed to begin to invite participation to give to the fund, so that because scholarship money, it comes in, it goes right out. It's full, it's empty. It's full, it's empty. So in 2010, the board began fundraising to support the scholarship fund. Black Community Fund scholars, there are exactly 100 of them since the beginning in their pipeline. I said it's been more than $500,000 in support, and Black Community Fund scholars are in 38 U.S. institutions, everywhere from local community colleges to Ivy Leagues to historically Black colleges and universities and everything in between.
Oh, looking at the schools, it was quite impressive.
Yeah.
Small to large, liberal art to specialty,
yeah,
Ivy League to Big 10, Big 12,
everything,
you name it.
Everything.
Stories make such an impact. Do you have a story or two that you could share of maybe one of those students or an organization that's been directly impacted by your funds?
Sure. One of our students, her name is Emily Lyons. Emily was a UMKC student, and today Emily is not only a donor to the Black Community Fund, she is gainfully employed with a career that is advancing in the field of mental health and child development. But like I said, and she is also now a reviewer for applications.
Oh, that must be fun to be on the other side.
To be on the other side. But like I said, she's also a donor to this scholarship
fund. And that's a big, important transition.
Other students have developed training programs for NASA. through their own internships and have been invited back, one other student, and been invited back to NASA to do more work in that area. And she, too, was an educator at UMKC. In the education school, rather, a school of education at UMKC. And she did this internship at NASA, and her whole write-up was about educating, and they invited her back to expand upon what she did and work with their staff there.
That is very exciting.
They are wonderful. They are wonderful. We've got med students and artists and dancers. One of our scholars just graduated from a well-respected dance university and is doing her final summer internship with the Rockettes and was hired by Norwegian cruise ships for her first cruise as a lead soloist on that. They're
everywhere.
Going
near and far and doing remarkable
They're doing amazing things. They're wonderful. Some have returned to Kansas City Public Schools. I know one is one gentleman is now a math teacher at one of our schools and coaches sports at another. So,
oh, how exciting. Well, we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation about Black philanthropy in Kansas City and beyond. We'll be back after this.
Inspired by Ewing Marion Kauffman, the Kauffman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Ewing Kauffman worked hard to make Kansas City a major league city. We strive to continue that legacy today, challenging ourselves and our community to take calculated risks, solve problems, and help empower people to shape their future. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
Peter Herrick was a 34-year-old carpenter when he joined the Navy Reserve. Peter's wife, Diana.
They were deployed to build schools and bases and to assist the Marines.
When the mortar round hit, I was completely knocked out. I didn't wake up until 6 days later.
Paralyzed veteran, Senior National Service Officer Raymond Bruce.
I saw Pete when he was at his worst. He didn't know if he was going to live to be able to see his daughter graduate from high school.
Raymond knew that I needed help figuring out where do we go from here.
We not only represent the veteran, but we represent the whole family.
11 months we stayed in the hospital down in Tampa.
We advocate, we educate, and we process claims through the VA, and we follow that claim from the beginning to the end.
Without Paralyzed Veterans of America, I really honestly believe I'd still be in the hospital.
You can help our paralyzed veterans. To learn more, visit pva.org, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Pop quiz, and no texting your friends or asking that hottie over there. Ready? You can get it and not know it. It often has no signs or symptoms. You don't have to do it to get it. Get it? I'm talking about HPV, the human papillomavirus. It infects an estimated 80% of American women in their lifetime. For most, HPV clears on its own. But for others who don't clear certain types, cervical cancer can develop. Learn the facts. Talk to your doctor. A public service of the Gynecologic Cancer Foundation with support from Merck.
Inspired by Ewing Marion Kauffman, the Kauffman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown-up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
We all know Goodwill. But did you know when you donate stuff to Goodwill, you help provide job training for people right here in your community? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org.
Welcome back to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice and digital resources, helping organizations survive and thrive. We'll tell your story to our community. I'm Ruth Bombigas, and we are back with Pat MacDonald, who's the Executive Director of the Black Community Fund and a Senior Philanthropic Advisor at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation, as well as Marie MacArthur, who is involved with founding the Sister Circle Fund and many other philanthropic endeavors here in Kansas City. Let's go back one last deep dive into the Black Community Fund. You all provide grants.
We do.
And I wanted to know who have been some of the recipients of those grants. How is that impacting Kansas City?
Well, the Black Community Fund looks across a 6-county area and funds by state. Their priority focus will be areas affecting health, education, and youth development. The Black Community Fund will consider a special or unique community enhancement, something that hadn't been thought of before if it's outside of that focus. But largely, the tight lens is health, education, youth development. So that would be anything from dental care for young children, all types of educational programming from STEM to arts to athletics, mentorship. So anything that touches youth in a positive way that helps them stay focused on track and persisting through school. And we talked about scholarships.
And would those organizations would have to focus on the Black or African American community as a beneficiary of those funds?
Absolutely, and that is a great question. So the Black Community Fund Board's lens is with an eye towards organizations that are meeting a critical community need or an area of value to Black and African Americans with intention. That is the important part. With intention. They have identified something in these communities that is missing or needs to be done better, and they're going after it with intention. And those are the types of organizations that bubble up to the top when applications are being reviewed.
Can you tell us who some of the folks have been?
Well, they're all on the website.
Are they on the website?
They can visit
your website.
www.blackcommunityfund.org to see a list of this year's and previous grantees.
Plus, there's all kinds of information there for people to find out. I think there's even a link in there. If you think you are somebody who can, or an organization that can apply, what are those requirements?
Yeah, those links are there as well, and plenty of good information and grant services, information to reach grant services to figure out how to start an application. It's all right there.
Marie, I wanted to bring you in first with the Sister Circle of Greater Kansas City. What is that? Is it a bunch of women sitting around, just holding hands? I'm being facetious. Of course it isn't. But tell us what it's all about.
Well, the Sister Circle is our mission is to increase charitable giving in the African American community and to benefit those communities specifically in the Greater Kansas City community. We are a group of about 100 plus women who came together really in 2016 after 4 women got together, read a social media post, came together and thought, I wonder if we could get women in Kansas City to get together solely for the purpose of giving back to an African American organization right here. One lady who I call the Pied Piper in that group of 4 is Dr. Marge Williams. And she is the type of individual that's almost like when E.F. Hutton speaks, everyone listens. Well, when Dr. Marge speaks, everybody listens. Doesn't matter what time of day or night, but if my phone rings or I get a text or an email from Marge to show up the next day at 5:30 at X location, my calendar is changed and I'm going to show up at 5:30 at the location that Dr. Marge has suggested. And that's exactly what happened back in 2016 when we first got together. That very first year, we, within 3 months, raised $20,000 and gave it back to our very first organization, which was Genesis School. And we funded a trauma management music program there at Genesis School. The next year, 2017, I think we raised about $18,000, and I could be off maybe $1 or $2. We gave that to Awesome Ambitions, which is a group of, it's an organization that focuses on aiding and supporting young high school girls, teaching and training about how to become a lady, how to function, how to study. They do strong mentoring. They talk about careers and expose them to that and work with those young ladies all through their high school experiences, assist and support them also with college scholarships. In 2018, we made a $20,500 contribution to the Kansas City Black Repertory Theater, and that is a marvelous organization.
Yes, we've had Dameron on the show to share his vision.
You know the dynamic Dameron Russell. And we were delighted to be the organization that allowed KCBRT to go actually purchase all of the rights to the book of shows that they were able to do last year. So that's the type of funding and activity that we do. We don't meet and sit around and hold hands in a circle. We only get together literally a few times a year. We come together to do recruiting in the fall and then again in the spring. Applications are taken and let, and it's so easy. All of that is handled by the Black Community Fund over at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation. It's all online. And then right now, actually, in the month of late July, early August, we as members are reading those applications that have come in, and probably by the 15th of this month, we will know how the voting goes. 1 member, 1 vote. That's all it is. We read them electronically, we vote electronically, and then we will come together and award the 2019 winner of our scholarship application.
Well, I hope
our application, not for scholarship, but it's a donation or contribution to that 501c3 organization.
And you choose one organization as opposed to divvying it up to a couple of
one organization
to make that impact,
to make a difference in that organization.
Yeah. And the kickoff annually is important. The kickoff is always in March, Women's History Month.
Oh, perfect.
So that's when we kick off, and then we're lean and mean. We don't meet a lot. We're not a lot. We do get together socially, and
that's okay.
And as groups go see the Black Repertory Theater or some other special activity going on in Kansas City, but no mandatory monthly meetings or any of that. We're pretty efficient, and as you know, as Shirley just said, the grant award is in Black Philanthropy Month.
Well, please let us know so we can post who the lucky organization is. What I love about your story is its grassroots, and it's out of the heart and passion of,
it absolutely
in this case,
is.
women who felt this is something we want to do, and by golly, we're going to do it.
And it really this is an example of how the power of one, it really just takes one dynamic, very passionate individual like our Dr. Marge, who this year, as a matter of fact, is the recipient of the Spirit of Philanthropy Award from the Association of Fund Developers. And we are so proud of Marge. Really, she is like the old story of the Pied Piper, and we have followed that lead, we being this group of 100 women. It's not a lot of meeting, and it doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take a little commitment to make a big difference in our organization.
Right. The Sister Circle generated so much energy that a men's circle came about. The Vision Impact Power Fund, a Black and African American Men's Giving Circle, sometimes known as the VIP Fund, and an African American Women's Female Attorneys Fund called, get this, the Sisters-in-Law Fund.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. And all these groups are working with you at the foundation.
Well, they
for the
work
most
independently. They work independently. So the Black Community Fund provided seed money for the groups to get together and figure out what they were doing and what they wanted to go. So that seed money, and it was not a lot, but then it's hands off after that. It's the people on the ground run those those efforts. And then a third one, the Star Circle of Giving, supports St. Teresa's Academy students. So,
Marie, you were talking before the show about some other organizations that you have worked with or have great knowledge of. Will you share those with us?
I will. As I said earlier, African American women are really very, very busy when it comes to giving, and large organizations and small. And I'm going to give you an example of two, one large and one small, that I'm a part of. The large one is the Jackson County, Missouri chapter of the Links Incorporated. And the Links Incorporated is one of the oldest and largest volunteer service organizations in America. Founded by two women who were friends, who came together to serve their community and in friendship, Sarah Scott and Margaret Hawkins in Pennsylvania. Well, those two ladies have spawned an organization of now over 15,000 professional women in 288 chapters in 47 states and the District of Columbia, as well as the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Our organizer here in the Kansas City area for the Jackson County, Missouri chapter, there are two. I belong to the Jackson County chapter, was Inez Jürgen Kaiser. We founded in 1981, and from that small group of 21 women, we've grown to over 70 now, women in the Jackson County chapter.
And what does that group do?
We focus our efforts in 5 areas: services to youth, which could be working with our STEM program. We have a National Society of Black Engineers Junior chapter, which really takes young people from grade school through high school and focuses them in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and prepares them to go to college and participate in this new world of technology. We work in the arts, which is the second area, through education and participation and appreciation. We work in national trends and services, which from our chapter has been a nationally validated voter registration and education program. We've built Habitat for Humanity houses in Kansas City. We work in international trends and services, where we've sent mama kits and built wells in Africa America, as well as homes there. And in Health and Human Services, where we have a walk for wellness, we raise money for organ donation, and we deal with heart health. And we also have a scholarship program. The smaller organization with whom I'm closely affiliated is City.The, Latin for Society of Doctors. And what we do as a small group of African American women is to assist and support other women of color who want to receive their terminal degree by giving them scholarships, by providing mentorships, and that's basically through our own giving, and then a luncheon that we hold in the month of March to coincide with that focus in March, and it's called the Nefertiti Awards Luncheon, where we recognize African American women in the community who are leading across multiple fields, and the proceeds from that is helps to propel our scholarship fund.
You all are just doing such amazing work and raising the bar and enlightening people that I think sometimes we may get stuck with a certain image of who is that philanthropist. And I thank you both for opening my eyes, hopefully opening some listeners' eyes as well. If we have African American women of color who are interested in getting involved, websites, this is your last chance to pitch where they can go to find out or get involved.
They can find information about the Sister Circle Fund on the Community Foundation's website in the list of funds
on a drop-down.
They can also email sisterscirclefund@gmail.com. sisterscirclefund@gmail.com.
The links, you can go www.linksinc.org and find out about us. We are listed there.
L-I-N-K?
L-I-N-K-S. And for City.The, we also have a website, gkcsdi.org.
And we can put this information up in our social media. So
yes.
Get involved, get engaged. If you are an African American or a woman of color, there is a lot of opportunity for you. Seize the day, make a difference, like both Marie and Pat are doing. We thank you both so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much,
It's been our
Ruth.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Inspired by Ewing Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Ewing Kaufman worked hard to make Kansas City a major league city. We strive to continue that legacy today, challenging ourselves and our community to take calculated risks, solve problems, and help empower people to shape their future. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Inspired by Ewan Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
I'm Rashida Ali Walsh, author and daughter of Muhammad Ali. My dad knows that people affected by Parkinson's disease can have meaningful and productive lives. Guidelines from the American Academy of Neurology help neurologists make early, accurate diagnoses and optimize proven and effective therapies, track how quickly the disease may progress, and tailor treatment accordingly. Believe me, early diagnosis, proper treatment, and regular contact with a neurologist can help patients improve and maintain a good quality of life. Visit AAN.com.
I'm Howie Mandel. Did you know attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in adults is a real and treatable medical disorder? I know because I am one of the estimated 10 million adults in the U.S. who have ADHD. The symptoms of ADHD, inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity make it difficult to pay attention and focus, be organized, complete tasks, and maintain relationships. I've been diagnosed with ADHD. In my life, I've often misplaced things and have found it difficult to sit down and read a script for work or even have a conversation. You know, the kind when you're actually listening without interrupting. It's never too late for adults to seek help for ADHD and find the right treatment plan. Get information at adultadhdisreal.com and take an ADHD self-screener. Talk to your doctor. The right treatment plan can help control your symptoms so you can stay focused and organized, get things done at home and work, and help improve relationships. Visit adultadhdisreal.com to learn more about adult ADHD. Don't let ADHD prevent you from achieving your goals. I haven't.
Welcome back to KC Cares, Kansas City's window on the nonprofit community and the people they serve. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. We're taking a little switch from Black Philanthropy Month over to an organization that is doing incredible things all around the world. It is the Global Orphan Project, and I do want to share a little of how I got to this organization. It was through a conversation with Royals Dayton Moore, who must have his fingers on everything in this city. I think there isn't a thing that Dayton Moore doesn't know, but he had talked to me a little bit about this. So I've reached out, and with us today is John Cassatt. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Chief Marketing Officer. And please feel free, John, to correct me.
Well, it's Cassatt, but
Cassatt.
Close enough.
And Jessica Ray.
Yep.
I got that right.
Yeah.
Executive Director of Marketplace. And you're going to explain that in a minute, what that really means. John, I'm going to task you with informing us about the Global Orphan Project. What is it that you all do?
Well, as the name suggests, we care for vulnerable kids and families around the world. Started about 15 years ago. And at that time, the emphasis was really on kids outside this country. And we were kind of structured that way. But about 4, maybe 5 years ago, we thought, well, why don't we apply the same kind of energy to kids here in America as well? So now the Global Orphan Project is caring for kids in crisis here in America, in various countries around the world, in particular Haiti, the DR, Africa, the Middle East, India. And it's thousands of kids that are getting care through this one organization based right here in town.
When you say getting care, how do you define that?
A variety of ways. So we want to debunk the idea of orphanages as the way to care for orphans. We care for kids through education and meals. Occasionally, there is the need for 24/7 care, but our biggest hope is that we can keep kids in their biological family or extended family. So more and more of our effort is to get kids into family instead of creating that residential orphanage that people are probably more familiar with. So increasingly, the number of kids in 24/7 care is going down for us year after year, which is great, but the number of kids we serve is growing exponentially, which is also great. So, the idea is to care for kids that are vulnerable in one way or another, and to do so through the local church. So one of the models is that we don't just send people here to go take care of the problem there. We work with local churches in Uganda or Lebanon to help care for the kids right there in that community. And likewise here in America, we work through the local church and the Child Welfare Service to put the needs of the kids, as identified through Child Welfare Service, into the on the radar of the local church, so church members can reach out and help the kids right in their own neighborhood. So again, work through the local church, very localized solution to care for kids in need.
How did this all start? Was this one person's idea? There's lots of need in the world, so how did it happen?
We have a very successful businessman in Mike Fox, and he takes a little sabbatical. He goes to the Far East without a real agenda, but finds himself sitting cross-legged on the floor with a bunch of kids. And these kids need help. And as he's leaving, the chaperone with him indicates that it takes just a small amount of money by this person's standards to help them. And Mike Fox said, I'm going to do this. I feel a need to help these people. So after helping those children, it snowballs. His heart has changed from that point on and says, I'm going to look at the world differently. He comes back and he kind of multitasks, continues to be a business person and continues to help kids until the calling consumes him. And he and his wife formed what was then C3 Missions and then was later rebranded as the Global Orphan Project. And now the numbers have swelled and the impact is felt really around the world.
And with the funds that you garner, what are you bringing to these children? What kinds of, items? What are we talking about?
Well, it can be a number of things. Education is vitally important. Meals are vitally important. And in some cases, they need a roof over their heads. But again, what we try mostly to do is support the local church who knows the needs of those kids in that community. And then working through them, yes, it's education. It's a chance to break the cycle of poverty by equipping them with jobs and vocations. So when they get out at 18, they can be on their own. But I'll leave with you an annual report, or your listeners can go to goproject.org and see the information. But the statistics we keep, everything from creating jobs, which Jessica will talk more about, to caring for kids through education or caring through kids with meals. That's the way that our numbers scale up to tens of thousands of kids served.
I was going to say, what was that number of children that you've been able to touch? Do you have a particular story you might be able to share of a child? I think that, when we hear a story of someone, I know there are lots on the website.
Sure.
At goproject.org. But I wondered if there was one for you.
One of the stories that we highlighted recently that I was privileged to see for myself, it was in Uganda. Working with the church there, they identified members of their congregation that needed a little help. And they said, well, what does it take for you to get the help you need? And this woman kind of meekly indicates she needs a garden hoe. You think, well, you need more than that. And she goes, no, I need a garden hoe. And this is a widow that had 3 children and unfortunately also has HIV. So she is sick in herself, but she thought if she had a hoe and a little bit of supervision and instruction, she could farm the land immediately around her modest hut. So she got the training, she got the hoe, she starts farming, and she raises enough to feed her 3 children, which is great. She raises enough to have a little surplus, which she sells at the market, which is great. With that surplus, she's able to buy a bus ticket to go to the nearest town to get her HIV meds, which literally keeps her alive. All 3 of her kids are healthy, going to school, and she is getting her meds because she got a hoe from her friends at the church. And we see those stories over and over again, and it's great. I mean, we didn't send somebody there, but through the local church, they were able to support a woman in their community, and it has a very happy ending.
I think it's such an interesting model to work with churches, which already have people, some organization and ability there on the ground, rather than necessarily coming over and trying to, that you're lifting up and empowering. Jessica, talk about your area. This is just fascinating how what you do plays into the entire organization.
For sure. So like John said, we work in a lot of different ways, and we've learned over time that the actual best form of orphan prevention is empowering parents to care for their kids. So just like Charity needed a way to provide for her kids, and she did that through farming. In other communities, it looks different, and so we create jobs in other ways. So the portion of the business that I oversee is an apparel manufacturing company, which is wholly owned by Global Orphan Project. We have a sewing facility in Haiti that employs about 140 people right now. And we're able to sew millions of garments a year, and they're shipped here to the States. And those are for other brands as well as our own. And we have a warehouse in downtown Kansas City and a screen print shop, and we provide jobs and job training in the local community as well. So in the same way that internationally we do job training and provide resources, we do the same thing here in Kansas City and in the U.S. So so there's a long history, a win-win. So there's a long history in Haiti in garment manufacturing. It's actually the #1 industry in the country, but at very low wages. And so we pay at least 40% more than what most apparel manufacturers do. Generally, it's 2 to 2.5 times what employees in other factories are making, and provide some additional support for our employees as well. This weekend, we have an optometrist coming in to fit all of our employees for glasses if needed. So we try to do those kinds of programs as well to just improve the lives of our employees. And then all the fabric that we use comes from South Carolina, so supporting jobs in the States using U.S. cotton. So I'm supporting agriculture here as well. And then warehoused and printed in Kansas City.
So funds that are raised there go right into the orphan.
Yep.
Project. Wow.
Yeah. So being wholly owned, we say that we're the only orphan-owned apparel company in the world, most likely. 100% of profits go right back into investing in children and families.
And we'll post beautiful T-shirts so that everybody can see those. Let's talk about some of the things that you all do event-wise that draw attention to your mission.
Well, we have 2 big events in the course of the year. One has happened just recently in the spring, a Go Feed event where thousands of people turn out and pack a ton of meals. And those meals, we work through Feed My Starving Children, which is also a T-shirt customer for GoX, the apparel initiative. And it's a great time for families and businesses and small groups to come out, pack meals that are high in nutrition, that those are then shipped by Feed My Starving Children to kids in need all around the world. And it's so much fun to do good, and it's demonstrated at that event. I mean, there are food trucks out there. It's a great time. So if people can think far enough ahead, it's usually around Mother's Day weekend in the spring. We try to do that in part because we are honoring those that provide food for, and often that job defaults to the mother. So it's kind of a nice tie-in. The other big event is coming up in just a couple weeks. The big event, and actually, while it is in fact a big event, BIG stands for Build, Invest, and Grow. Largely, it's a celebration of what God is doing through our organization through the course of the year. Last year we had 800 people show up. This year there'll be more. It's at the Kaufman Center for Performing Arts on August 17, and it's just a night of fun. A whole lot of food, a whole lot of drink, a whole lot of celebration, and a little program. So
just a little.
Actually, it is just a little program, because the idea there is, we want to make connection. We want to meet people and build a relationship. We want to give people just enough information so they know what we do and how they do it, and what impact they're having. But mostly, it's a night to say thank you and get better acquainted with other folks.
Going through your website, I'm fascinated. You have an area called Trips. Let's talk about Trips. and experiences that you offer.
So many times when people see the children we serve, it opens their eyes to what's going on. One of the most popular trips historically has been the trip to Haiti. We've taken a lot of people to Haiti, and the highlight there actually is to walk through the factory that Jessica talked about. And I'll defer to Jessica really on the Haiti trips, because I think, again, the highlight of that trip is to see where the shirts are made and meet the people who make them.
For sure. We've had thousands of people who have come with us to Haiti and been able to not only see children there, but also one of our newer projects, which is Transition Academy, which feeds straight into the factory. So we talk about care in kind of three ways: prevention, which is family preservation, keeping kids with family; residential care for those kids who need it, that there isn't any viable family option; and then transition. So when a child ages out of residential care at 18, they really have zero life experience or ability to care for themselves, because you're actually not allowed to have kids work and that kind of thing while they're in residential care for reasons that make sense. But if you just then tell that child, okay, bye, they're actually better off having been raised on the street. So you have to have a transition plan so that those children have the ability to provide for themselves. So Transition Academy is what we've named that effort in Haiti, and we have like 75 kids, I think, right now there, and they learn a skill: hospitality, farming, sewing. They also have life skills classes, so they can learn how to go to the market and buy food and those kinds of things and prepare it. And then those who learn sewing have the opportunity to get a job at our factory or in other factories in Haiti. So it's a really cool program that is being expanded from there. There's a Transition Academy in India now, and some partner programming in Africa. So replicating that model wherever we are, so that kids get options and the ability to thrive after they age out.
How can volunteers get involved with you all? How can they help?
I think events is one of the biggest ways. So our biggest volunteer event is Go Feed. And then we have a new organization that's just started, Legacy Circle. And so that's a chance for younger people to get involved in events, service projects, to raise money for different projects. They're actually partnering with Transition Academy as one of their first fundraising initiatives, and just have fun at some great events and get to know some other people who care as well, and then going on a trip and just getting to serve the people that we serve around the world is a really cool thing as well.
Yeah, I might add that domestically also we are very close to the time where you'll be able to sign up through Care Portal, which is another initiative through the Global Orphan Project that would allow you to meet needs of families in a certain community. So
even if you don't live there.
Exactly. Or my wife and I have signed up to receive Care Portal requests internationally. So I will get notified of an opportunity to provide help to a single mother in the Middle East. And we can decide, yes, we want to do that or not. So really, if somebody's heart is in it to become personally invested, yes, we have events, we have trips. You can sign up to receive Care Portal requests, any number of ways to get involved.
It's the Global Orphan Project, goproject.org. Check it out. Thank you both for being with us, and thank you for listening to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit digital resource. We're produced by Charitable Communications, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we are generously funded by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. If you'd like to be a guest, you can check us out on kccaresonline.org. Share the love. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at KC Cares Online. Thank you for tuning in to KC Cares on ESPN 1510 AM and 94.5 FM.
ESPN Kansas City is KCTE Independence and K233 DM Raytown, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM.